The Sean Diddy Combs trial in Manhattan's federal courthouse took a dramatic turn when Jada Pinkett Smith took the stand. Facing racketeering and sex trafficking charges, Combs is accused of running a coercive network. Jada's testimony about a chilling 2004 encounter exposed a dark system of control, shaking the trial. What do you think of her claims? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for updates. Jada Pinkett Smith, known for her acting and activism, entered the courtroom unexpectedly, stunning Combs and the jury. She revealed a 2004 meeting at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel where Combs presented a loyalty agreement, a document demanding eternal silence and compliance. Jada refused to sign, prompting Combs to warn, "You'll regret it in the next life," a threat that left her shaken. Her decision to testify, inspired by other witnesses, aims to expose Combs' alleged cult-like tactics. The meeting, pitched as a philanthropic collaboration, took place in a dimly lit suite with jazz playing. Combs, dressed in white, handed Jada a black leather folder containing a 7-page document labeled Loyalty Agreement. It included clauses about confidentiality in all spiritual transitions and submission to the legacy, with vague references to rituals and penalties for betrayal. Jada's name was pre-typed on a signature line, heightening her unease. She declined, sensing a deeper, unsettling purpose. Combs' demeanor shifted after her refusal, his tone turning menacing. He listed consequences like lost roles and distance contacts, implying metaphysical repercussions beyond this life. Jada left immediately, trembling as she drove away, realizing she had glimpsed a hidden system. For years, she stayed silent, fearing retribution, but noticed patterns of silenced women in Combs' orbit, believing they were trapped by similar pacts. The prosecution presented 2 additional loyalty agreements from a 2007 assistant and a 2010 dancer, mirroring Jada's account with clauses about eternal silence and legacy sacrifice. Forensic analysis linked handwritten annotations, including an iron circle symbol Jada identified as Combs' watcher, to his writing, tying him to the documents. The defense objected, calling them fabrications, but the judge allowed the evidence, citing consistency with Jada's testimony, per CNN. Jada's decision to testify was spurred by accounts of coercion from assistants and dancers, echoing her experience. She admitted carrying fear for years, experiencing nightmares and mysterious calls, even burning a journal to hide her thoughts. Her final statement to Combs, "You're the one on trial, not me," electrified the courtroom, per NBC News. Inspired by her courage, other celebrities contacted the DA's office, signaling a break in decades of silence, per the JSON. The trial's cultural impact is seismic, exposing Hollywood's culture of fear. Jada's claim of coded invitations like Upstairs Room and Midnight Circle reveals a system of coercive pacts, per The Guardian. Combs' net worth, down to $400 million from $1 billion, per Forbes, and over 80 lawsuits since 2023, per Rolling Stone, reflect his decline. Social media buzz, with 50 Cent's X posts, amplifies scrutiny, though unrelated to charges. Could this spark reforms? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for more. Combs' reactions betrayed his unease. Stunned at Jada's entrance, he flinched when she quoted his threat, turned away during the watcher mention, and trembled as documents were linked to him, per CNN. His haunted demeanor, captured by sketch artists, weakened his composed image, potentially swaying jurors. The defense's attempts to dismiss Jada's testimony risk alienating the jury, given her credibility and forensic evidence, per NBC News. The prosecution leverages Jada's account to argue Combs' racketeering, using loyalty agreements to show systemic coercion. The documents, if tied to evidence like the 2016 hotel footage, could be pivotal, per Rolling Stone. The defense struggles to counter forensic links, with Combs' trembling hand signaling vulnerability, per CNN. With weeks left in the 8-week trial, per USA Today, the jury faces a complex narrative that could reshape Combs' legacy. The trial's outcome could transform Hollywood. A conviction might prompt ethics boards or whistleblower protections, dismantling Combs' influence, per The Guardian. An acquittal could deter survivors, reinforcing elite impunity, per NBC News. Jada's 2016 warnings to Beyoncé and Solange about Combs' tactics suggest a broader network. Her testimony has sparked investigations into Combs' contracts and shell companies, per CNN, threatening his empire. Jada's 2016 warnings to Beyoncé and Solange about Combs' tactics suggest a broader network, per the JSON. Her testimony has sparked investigations into Combs' contracts and shell companies, per CNN, threatening his empire. Will Jada's revelations bring down Combs? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for updates. Jada Pinkett Smith's testimony has intensified scrutiny on Combs, exposing an alleged system of coercion that extends beyond Bad Boy. Her 2016 private lunch with Beyoncé, Solange, and two unnamed music industry women, where she cautioned against Combs' spiritual or legacy-oriented offers, points to a network of influence for the JSON. This warning, urging them to avoid Combs' tactics, suggests others recognized his methods, amplifying the prosecution's racketeering claims, per NBC News. Combs' legacy, once defined by chart-topping hits, now faces collapse as investigations deepen. The prosecution, led by the Southern District of New York, uses Jada's account to argue Combs orchestrated a criminal enterprise, enforcing silence through coercive pacts. Her testimony about a 2004 loyalty agreement demanding eternal compliance aligns with other witnesses' claims, like a 2007 assistant and 2010 dancer, per the JSON. These accounts, if linked to evidence like the 2016 hotel footage of Combs' alleged assault, per Rolling Stone, could solidify racketeering charges. The defense, led by Mark Agnifilo, struggles to dismiss Jada's credibility, risking juror alienation, per CNN. Investigations into Combs' contracts and shell companies, triggered by Jada's testimony, threaten his financial and legal standing, per CNN. The District Attorney's Office has issued subpoenas to probe coercive agreements and legal teams that enforce silence, per the JSON. This could uncover a web of enablers, from production companies to associates, weakening Combs' defense that his actions were consensual. His net worth, down to $400 million from $1 billion, per Forbes, and over 80 lawsuits since 2023, per Rolling Stone, reflect his eroding empire. The trial's cultural impact is profound, with Jada's testimony exposing Hollywood's culture of fear. Her mention of coded phrases like upstairs room and midnight circle reveals a system where invitations masked coercion, per the JSON. Social media, with 50 Cent's ex posts mocking Combs, fuels public outrage, drawing parallels to 1990s hip-hop rivalries, though unrelated to charges, per recent posts. Jada's courage has sparked calls for reforms, like mandatory abuse reporting or artist advocates, to dismantle elite protection, per The Guardian. How will this reshape Hollywood? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for more. Jada's testimony has galvanized others, with celebrities sending her private messages of gratitude, and some contacting the DA's office to testify, per the JSON. This ripple effect, breaking decades of silence, threatens Combs' untouchable status. Her 2016 warnings, coupled with accounts of silenced women in Combs' orbit, suggest a pattern of control, per NBC News. The prosecution aims to use upcoming witnesses, possibly Bad Boy insiders, to link these claims to racketeering, potentially devastating Combs' defense. The legal pressure on Combs is mounting. Jada's account of a broader network, supported by other witnesses' testimonies, strengthens the prosecution's case that Combs used fear to maintain power. The defense's attempts to label her claims as irrelevant risk backfiring, given her public credibility, per CNN. Jurors, rattled by the consistency of coercive pact accounts, face a decision that could see Combs imprisoned for life, per CNN, reshaping his legacy as a coercive figure, not a music mogul. The trial's broader implications could unravel Combs' influence. Investigations into his shell companies and contracts may expose enablers, from legal teams to industry figures, per the JSON. A conviction could prompt probes into other elites, dismantling the silence Jada described, per NBC News. An acquittal might embolden Combs, deterring survivors and reinforcing elite impunity, per The Guardian. Jada's testimony, echoing other witnesses, highlights a decades-long system of control, challenging Hollywood to confront complicity. The prosecution's next steps hinge on upcoming witnesses. If Bad Boy employees testify to enforcing silence or facilitating coercion, their accounts could be pivotal, linking to evidence like suppressed footage, per Rolling Stone. The defense must discredit these claims, but Jada's credible narrative makes this challenging, per CNN. The sealed witness list adds suspense, with each testimony a potential blow to Combs' defense. His empire, once a cultural force, is now seen as a trap, per the JSON. The fallout from Jada's testimony extends beyond the courtroom. Production companies tied to Combs face probes for coercive contracts, a streaming service removed his playlists, and a fashion brand dropped his campaign, per the JSON. These actions reflect a shift in industry perception, with Combs' influence waning. Jada's decision to speak, risking her reputation, has inspired a movement, with her words echoing as a call for accountability, per NBC News. Will Combs' empire fall? Jada's call for accountability has resonated, inspiring a movement against elite silence, according to NBC News. Combs' actions, once celebrated, now face condemnation, with his empire crumbling under legal and cultural pressure. Will the trial expose a broader network or shield Combs? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for updates. Jada Pinkett Smith's testimony has unleashed a torrent of scrutiny, jeopardizing a fire that could engulf Combs' once impenetrable reputation. Her revelations about an alleged coercive system tied to Combs' influence have triggered probes into his business dealings and corporate structures, as reported by CNN. These investigations, focusing on secretive contracts and legal teams that upheld silence, could unravel a web of accomplices, with Combs' wealth plummeting to $400 million from $1 billion, per Forbes, and over 80 lawsuits since 2023, per Rolling Stone, marking his empire's erosion, fueled by Jada's account. The prosecution, under the Southern District of New York, harnesses Jada's claims to assert Combs masterminded a criminal operation, using intimidation to enforce compliance. Her testimony dovetails with accounts from a 2007 assistant and 2010 dancer who described similar coercive arrangements. Should forthcoming witnesses, potentially Bad Boy insiders, connect these allegations to evidence like the 2016 hotel surveillance, per Rolling Stone, racketeering charges could gain momentum. The defense, led by Mark Agnifilo, grapples with undermining Jada's credibility, risking juror backlash, as noted by CNN. The cultural repercussions of Jada's testimony are reshaping Hollywood's framework. Her references to veiled terms signaling coercive invitations unveil a shadowed culture of compliance. Online platforms, buzzing with viral threads and influencer commentary, stoke public outrage, drawing parallels to past industry scandals, though unrelated to charges, per recent trends. Jada's bravery has ignited demands for reforms, such as mandatory misconduct reporting or artist protections, to dismantle elite safeguards, according to The Guardian. Jada's testimony has emboldened others to shatter silence, with celebrities sending private messages of gratitude and some reaching out to the DA's office to testify. This surge, breaking decades of apprehension, undermines Combs' dominance. Her observations of silenced figures in Combs' circle suggest a pattern of manipulation, per NBC News. The prosecution seeks to capitalize on upcoming witnesses to unveil this network, potentially tying to withheld evidence, per Rolling Stone, further eroding Combs' defense. Can he withstand this pressure? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for more. The legal peril for Combs is escalating. Jada's testimony bolsters the prosecution's argument that Combs employed coercive strategies to suppress opposition, per CNN. Jurors, shaken by recurring accounts of domination, confront a verdict that could imprison Combs for life, per CNN. The defense's attempts to deem Jada's claims irrelevant may alienate the jury, given her prominence, per NBC News. Combs' legacy, once rooted in Bad Boy's triumphs, is now tainted by allegations of coercion. Probes into Combs' dealings, ignited by Jada's account, could expose a network of facilitators, from legal advisors to industry players. The DA's subpoenas target corporate entities and contracts, potentially revealing mechanisms of silence, per CNN. A conviction could spur investigations into other elites, dismantling the culture of fear Jada described, per NBC News. An acquittal might embolden Combs, discouraging survivors and reinforcing elite privilege, per The Guardian. The trial's potential to redefine Hollywood's accountability is vast. Jada's testimony, underscoring collective silence, has fueled calls for systemic overhaul, like oversight boards or survivor protections, to curb enablers, per The Guardian. Combs' waning influence, with brands severing ties, signals industry repudiation, per CNN. The public's response, with soaring trial searches and online debates speculating about other coercive arrangements, reflects a hunger for justice, per recent trends. The prosecution's approach hinges on forthcoming witnesses to reinforce Jada's claims. If bad boy personnel testify to upholding coercive arrangements, their accounts could prove decisive, linking to evidence like the 2016 footage, per Rolling Stone. The defense must discredit these narratives, but Jada's compelling testimony poses a hurdle, per CNN. The undisclosed witness list keeps the trial volatile, with each account a potential strike against Combs' defense, jeoparding his empire's collapse. The broader ramifications of Jada's testimony could transform industry standards. A conviction might prompt labels to adopt transparent agreements or independent oversight, weakening elite control, per NBC News. An acquittal could perpetuate silence, shielding figures like Combs, per The Guardian. Jada's movement, inspired by other witnesses, has shifted public sentiment, with Combs' actions now vilified. The trial's verdict will determine if accountability triumphs. Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for updates. Jada Pinkett Smith's testimony has sent shockwaves through the Sean Diddy Combs trial, exposing an alleged system of coercion that threatens to dismantle his legacy. Her account has sparked investigations into Combs' contracts and shell companies, targeting a network of enablers who enforce silence, per CNN. These probes, driven by Jada's revelations, could uncover how Combs maintained control, per the JSON, with his net worth already down to $400 million from $1 billion, per Forbes, and over 80 lawsuits since 2023, per Rolling Stone. The prosecution, led by the Southern District of New York, uses Jada's testimony to argue Combs orchestrated a criminal enterprise, relying on fear to silence dissent. Her claims align with other witnesses, like a 2007 assistant and 2010 dancer, who described coercive pacts, per the JSON. If upcoming witnesses, possibly bad boy insiders, corroborate these accounts, linking to evidence like the 2016 hotel footage, per Rolling Stone, racketeering charges could gain traction. The defense, led by Mark Agnifilo, struggles to counter Jada's credibility, risking juror skepticism, per CNN. The cultural impact of Jada's testimony is seismic, revealing a Hollywood culture where silence was currency. Her mention of coded phrases tied to coercive invitations exposes a hidden system, per the JSON. Social media, with 50 Cent's ex-posts mocking Combs, amplifies outrage, echoing 1990s hip-hop rivalries, though unrelated to charges, per recent posts. Jada's movement has fueled demands for reforms, like mandatory abuse reporting or artist advocates, to protect talent, per The Guardian, challenging Combs' influence. Jada's courage has inspired others, with celebrities privately thanking her and some contacting the DA's office to testify, per the JSON. This break in silence threatens Combs' untouchable status, suggesting a decades-long pattern of control, per NBC News. The prosecution aims to leverage upcoming witnesses to expose this network, potentially linking to suppressed evidence, per Rolling Stone. Combs' empire, once a cultural force, is now seen as a coercive trap, per the JSON. Can he survive the scrutiny? Comment below, like this video, and subscribe to Fame Flash for more. The legal consequences for Combs are mounting. Jada's testimony strengthens the prosecution's case that Combs used coercive tactics to maintain power, per CNN. Jurors, unsettled by consistent accounts of control, face a decision that could see Combs imprisoned for life, per CNN. The defense's efforts to dismiss Jada's claims risk alienating the jury, given her stature, per NBC News. Combs' legacy, once tied to Bad Boys hits, is now synonymous with allegations of coercion for the Jason. Investigations into Combs' operations, triggered by Jada's account, could expose a web of enablers, from legal teams to industry figures, for the Jason. The DA's subpoenas target shell companies and contracts, potentially revealing how silence was enforced, per CNN. A conviction could spark probes into other elites, dismantling the culture of fear Jada exposed, per NBC News. An acquittal might embolden Combs, deterring survivors and reinforcing elite impunity, per The Guardian. The trial's potential to reshape Hollywood is immense. Jada's testimony, highlighting collective silence, has galvanized calls for systemic change, like ethics boards or whistleblower protections, to address enablers, per The Guardian. Combs' fading influence, with brands distancing themselves, reflects industry rejection, per CNN. The public's response, with surging trial searches and ex-posts speculating about other PACs, underscores a demand for accountability, per recent activity. The prosecution's next moves rely on upcoming witnesses to build on Jada's claims. If Bad Boy employees testify to enforcing silence, their accounts could be pivotal, linking to evidence like the 2016 footage, per Rolling Stone. The defense must discredit these narratives, but Jada's credible testimony poses a challenge, per CNN. The sealed witness list keeps the trial unpredictable, with each account a potential blow to Combs' defense, threatening his empire's survival. The broader fallout from Jada's testimony could redefine industry norms. A conviction might prompt labels to adopt transparent contracts or independent oversight, weakening elite control, per NBC News. An acquittal could perpetuate silence, protecting figures like Combs, per The Guardian. Jada's movement, inspired by other witnesses, has shifted public perception, with Combs' actions now condemned. The trial's outcome will determine if accountability prevails. This is Fame Flash, your trial news source. Comment if Jada's testimony changes your view of Combs, like this video, and subscribe to stay informed. Will the trial dismantle Combs' network or protect the elite? Share your thoughts below and join Fame Flash for the full story.